Well, I mean, but remember, Vapor Snag in some ways like the Blue Wrath. If you have a Snapcaster with it, it's almost a sweeper. It gets half of the Lingering Souls. I think that's the real advantage why I like Wescoe's deck in this field. There's so many cards: Dungeon Geist, Vapor Snag, Gut Shot. He answers them so well.
Yeah, none of these cards are really getting it done.
You know, think about Gut Shot. Okay, Wescoe plays Champion of the Parish. It can get that, but after that, well, you have to hope a couple things. One, I can get half of a Lingering Souls. Two, oh god, I hope he doesn't play one of his 8 enchantments. Right. This card does nothing. It's almost better not to cast. It deals 2 to you.
Right. The other side of this is like where can things go wrong for Wescoe is like he can just get a lot of draws that are just like he's all dressed up and nowhere to go. Like he's got very few cards that actually qualify as threat cards. So like 1 mana leak on a Midnight Haunting or whatever can leave him stranded with a hand of a bunch of Crusades and Oblivion Rings and like spot removal spells that aren't particularly good.
Right. So. The thing is, his actual threats. You know, Champion of the Parish obviously very good, but you know, let's look at what Wescoe can do in turns 1 and 2, which are really pivotal turns against Delver. We can play Doomed Traveler, Gather the Townsfolk, and Intangible Virtue, Honor of the Pure. None of those really get you ahead on the board right away. So Wescoe falls into the danger of the style of Delver draws, which have its namesake card, Delver of Secrets, with a good amount of disruption backup, can maybe end the game before it starts.
Yeah, and actually, Wescoe's deck is actually fairly soft to the card Delver itself, if there's any softness to this list. He's got a couple 3-mana things that generate flyers, 2 copies of Go for the Throat, and 2 Oblivion Rings, but...
Right, so I mean, Lingering Souls is a great answer to Delver of Secrets, but you have to have the time to make it happen.
Right.
If Larry can tempo him off that and stop it from ever happening... Wescoe can fold.
Like Day of Judgment's also theoretically a good answer to Delver Secrets, but it rarely ends up working out that way. So,
all right, Wescoe on the play, no 1-drop, and Larry turn 1, and there you go, Delver of Secrets.
There he is.
I like that the blue deck is in the Who's the Beatdown sleeves. Actually, somewhat pretty indicative of sometimes what Delver ends up being.
Okay, so we have some Townsfolk.
Right, trying to flip on the Delver, and no. So, Wescoe looking like... Does he have the 3rd land? I don't know.
No, he has a Midnight Haunting, 2 Oblivion Rings, a Doom Traveler.
I believe another Gather.
It's a Champion of the Parish, so at least he has 2 1-drops for this turn.
So he drew the Doom Traveler last turn? He
right.
Not making a 1-drop. Okay.
I would assume.
And he's gonna...
There's a Snag. Sure.
Sure, that's, kind of a lot of cards. Vapor Snag, Gut Shot, less than Stellar. Champion of the Parish, Doomed Traveler, make a 2/2.
Yep. And inducing the Vapor Snag there before combat's really nice because...
Vapor Snag is very good against Champion. Yeah. And Mutagenic Growth, Delver will flip. So, Larry Park, maybe he'll race.
Yep. Certainly ain't blocking.
Yeah, that's not the strategy you want here. Wescoe needs to hit the 3rd land. I think if he does, he's in a great position to win this.
Yeah, he's got a lot of big draws besides. I mean, Honor the Pure would be insane here. Another Gather the Townsfolk.
Another Champion of the Parish, which is what he drew.
Yeah, pretty sweet too. He's got to be considering Snapcaster and a Vapor Snag and how he wants to handle that as a possible play.
Sure. Yeah, obviously a pretty strong play. The nice part about having a 2nd champion, say there's Snapcaster and Vapor Snag on the champion, well, he gets to recast the champion that's snagged, and you know what? It pumps the first one.
Not even the end of the world.
Yeah. And team gets in. Larry is right now off of white mana, so Craig doesn't have to worry about, Geist of Saint Draft here.
All right, so here's Snapcaster.
Snapcaster into Snag.
We're going to knock down the 3/3 champ, it looks like.
And Mutagenic Growth. Yep.
So are we just trading?
Yep, I think we're just trading. Taking 2. I'm not sure...
I guess he's going to end a turn snag the other champ.
I'm not sure how much I like that play. So imagine the other one, because Larry still has to take 2 and loses a card here. Say he just, plays the Snapcaster and snags there. Then the champion replays. Wescoe's left with a 1/1 champion and a 2/2 champion. He can make that trade a turn later. He's not down the life for it.
When Larry's has to kind of be on the aggressive now with Wescoe land screwed, that seems like an oddly controlling play.
What it does let him do is let him do the snag on end step on the champion, which actually I think that's pretty nice.
I was just not a huge fan of the mutagenic growth on that block there.
Right. All right, so getting in for 4, putting Wescoe at 11.
The land here would be huge for Wescoe.
Still doesn't have, drew, I believe, another Lingering Souls, so desperately needing to play some of these spells.
Fortunately, the Pike isn't doing a ton right now.
Hero of Blade Hold, Lingering Souls, Midnight Haunting. The good news is that even if he does get the land here, it's still great for him.
Yep.
Larry will have to start countering every spell that Craig plays, but I think it has to be next turn on the land. After that, the life total gets too low.
So in for 4.
Right. He also needs to not have Larry draw Invisible Stalker. There he says go.
It's an Honor of the Pure, which is not...
I don't think that's good enough. I have to imagine there's a man... I feel like there's a Mana Leak sitting in Larry's hand.
So Craig's down to 1 card.
Gonna have to jam into it. And maybe... Okay, it works. Taking 6, so Larry Park dropping to... 6 life, not 7... So dropping to 7 life, which... relevant, but it's not 6. Thought Scour himself. Can he get lethal? Can he get himself lethal? Okay.
It would be insane to get
if he hits 2 instants, that's gonna do it. All right.
Snapcaster.
Thought Scour. That's
we
1.
We got another draw.
Is that an instant? Oh yeah, and it is. It's a Ponder. That's gonna be 1, 2. That's gonna be 7.
That's a Vapor Snag too.
For the Rubbin.
We went way over lethal.
And for the Rubbins, there you go. And that should give Larry Park first game. A great hand out of Wescoe. I think some unfortunate draws there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's stuck on 2 lands with, 7 3-casters for the entire game. So.
All right. So, our last honest man down to his last game.
Yeah, come on, man.
All right. So, thank you for those of you still with us in the top 4. Thank you very much for still joining us. We still have a giveaway. This time we'll up the stakes a little bit. Not just 3 months of premium. We're gonna double that. We're gonna go with
that's 6.
6 months of premium. So
for those of you without a math background, 6 months.
6 months. So what we know, for those of you, we're gonna kind of reward the people who've been watching since the top 8. The question we have right now in our top 4, we are watching Craig Wescoe's Black-White Tokens take on Larry Park with Blue-White Delver. But in the other semifinal, we have a Blue-White Delver versus Tom Ma, who is also playing Blue-White Delver, except he is playing a certain white enchantment to try to win the mirror match. So our question for you is, what white enchantment has he decided to side in, or play in his main deck, moreover, to try to break open the mirror in this top 8?
So you have to tweet that to hashtag at GPSLC.
At SCG Premium. SCG Premium. So.
That's right.
All right. Right there. Tweet, put that on your tweet. We will announce the winner of this 6 months of Star City Premium at the end of this.
I'm not Twitter proficient, so this.
As you see, you can tweet at Patrick by following his Twitter hashtag right there.
Absolutely not. You cannot follow me on Twitter.
All right, game 2. Craig is on the play. His probable board doesn't have too much to board in, I don't think, in this matchup.
Yeah, Larry Park gets to pick up 2 Ratchet Bombs, which is a huge deal. And he gets a copy of Revoke Existence because he knows about Wescoe's his 8 Crusade effects.
Right.
So those are the big cards that he wants.
Maybe Nile Spellbomb for Wescoe. It's a pretty low investment.
Larry Park probably also wants his 1 copy of Negate. So yeah, he's got some nice additions to make from to the deck here. So if you're on Park's end of things, where are you taking out?
Well, on Park side of things, Dungeon Geists, Gut Shot, these both seem pretty bad.
Yeah, it's tough because like Wescoe has 1 card in his deck where both of those cards are excellent. Like Champion, you definitely want Gut Shot on turn 1. That's a great answer.
Hero
Blade Hold, you absolutely want Dungeon Geist. In the absence of those cards, Gut Shot and Dungeon Geist are pretty poor. I mean, Dungeon Geist is still fine. I mean, it's very good in a damage race.
It's a phantom monster.
Right. It's even if it's not ideal, it's still got a lot of utility in a damage race. Gut Shot is quite bad in the absence of Champion, but it's a big risk to take those cards out entirely because Wescoe can get some pretty explosive draws involving those cards if Larry doesn't have one of his answers. So both players Appears to be Wescoe still mulling over some of his sideboard options here. Park is ready to go. So you think I mean, the spellbombs seem good.
They seem fine. There's a lot of... It's not too much in
against the
Craig's...
pike build.
Yeah.
It's a little looser against ones that are leaning on swords, but...
I think one of the bigger things is actually Hero Blade holds something I don't really like in Wescoe's deck in this matchup.
Yeah, there's
it's a 4-mana sorcery. It's
right. Doesn't impact the board the turn you play. It's just like all these check marks of like, is this card bad against Delver? Like checks all the boxes.
Check. Does it do something that comes into play? No. Is it a 4 sorcery?
Yeah, yes. Larry also gets to pick up a Sword of War and Peace. Now, there's a different dynamic to these games in the elimination rounds. If you're not aware, actually deck lists are public, so everyone gets to review everyone else's deck lists, which adds an extra little dimension of metagameness and sort of mind tricks with this sort of stuff. Because
the reason they've done this is originally players who had a lot of friends watching other matchups were at a really big advantage. They would get reports of deck lists from their friends and determine that it's probably just better, instead of trying to stop that behavior, they want people to watch the matches, but that's not good. So they'll just give the deck lists.
Yeah, it's especially now pronounced in like the digital coverage smartphone era. Like some people have access to the information, other people don't. So just easier to level off the playing field.
So both of them, I believe, both looking at their opening hands, both deciding on keeps. Wescoe looking at it pretty intently. I think, yep, he says they'll keep. And Larry Park is also champion of the parish right out the gates. He's that situation. Did you keep in the gut shots?
Yeah.
Craig Wescoe, actually, he's on a mulligan. No, he's not on a mulligan. Sorry, he played a 1-drop. He has Honor of the Pure. He still only has 2 lands.
Yep.
But I believe he has a turn 2 Gather the Townsfolk,
which is insane.
Yeah. Perhaps, yep.
Make some homies.
Some townsfolk will be gathered, and, Wild and the Cattle will swing in. Wild and the Cattle, but better. It's not done growing.
Yeah.
So Wescoe stuck on 2 lands, but, Honor of the Pure, a fine play here if he's stuck on 2.
Right.
And a Ponder out of Larry, really dangerous. It means that Craig knows that there's no mana leak coming.
Right. He's looking at a red-white sword there.
It's not going to be fast enough. No. He's going to have to shuffle.
Yeah.
Or he's going to keep. Okay.
That Delver's going to be a 1/1 for a bit. He has snag in hand, though, so he's probably just going to snag the champ.
Sure. Wescoe, can he draw a 3rd land? No, he cannot. But maybe it's better here. It's probably okay. He drew what I believe is another Gather the Townsfolk.
Yeah, he's just weighing Honor the Pure against Gather the Townsfolk.
I think Honor the Pure is the one that needs to come down.
Yeah, it's just an issue of, like, I think that it would be better this turn to, as far as your clock goes, it's better this turn to play Gather the Townsfolk. But there's also an issue of, like, I just want to sneak this under his permission because it's such an edge over time.
Right, and Wescoe ends up agreeing, Champion going to get Vapor snagged.
Yep.
But the thing is, this is still 4 damage a turn.
Right.
This is,
got a significant clock.
Larry's going to have to play something at sorcery speed. He can't just... Well, he can Snapcaster... He can end-step Snapcaster Vapor Snag.
The huge risk here from... the huge issue with the way this game is going for Wescoe is that while he's stalled on lands, it means that it's probably not that challenging for Larry to engineer Creature with Red-White Sword, and that's especially bad if Wescoe's stuck with a bunch of cards.
What I really like here, Wescoe's able to swing. He finally hit his 3rd land this game. Yeah. So, he can just swing for 4 more. And he has Midnight Haunting, and can definitely, I think he can overload any sort of permission that Larry might be bringing. In the situation that, say, Larry decides to Snapcaster Snag, well, then Wescoe has an excellent follow-up of Champion Gather the Townsfolk Go.
Yeah.
So he's going to do Champion pre-combat.
Yeah, I think he wants to gather.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't attack first, though?
I guess if you want to find out if he's going to go, I don't know.
So Wescoe is somewhat bluffing that he's mana screwed here.
Right.
And the Snapcast, so he's going to Vapor Snag a token, an excellent bluff there in a sense. He's going to trade it with the other one. Does he know what's coming? Is more Townsfolk.
Right.
So it turns out to be the same play. Great response to Snapcaster Snag. Well, that's a Stony Silence. That wasn't Gather. My mistake. So Stony Silence. Interesting card in there.
It's a singleton.
Singleton. So Runechanter's Pike, apparently a pretty big issue for him.
Well, I mean, I think the bigger risk is red-white sword potentially.
Right. He doesn't really have many answers to red-white sword. So, and actually red-white sword in Larry Park's hand. So, an effective enough spell.
Yep.
Remember, Larry Park represents the ability to kill Champion of the Parish here with the Moorland Haunt. Which actually, if I'm Craig Wescoe, I might, well, first I'll have I think he does have a Doomed Traveler. Yeah, so I think I play the Doomed Traveler.
Yeah, I think there's no way he's going to offer up Champ for
Haunt plus Delver.
Right. Well, no, he's going to, that's fine. He's not going to just offer it straight up for the Moorland Haunt token.
And that's going to get mana leaked. Craig did not play his land first.
Yeah,
so
I think he's trying to go land. I think now he's willing to trade with the Delver. Or sorry, not trade with the Delver, rather. Sorry. And now
he wants Lingering Souls.
Yeah, the way
that's the real prize.
Right. The way that Wescoe is sequencing his spells here, and like the way that he's playing his lands, is very smart. Like he's inducing mana leak there in a spot where he doesn't care if it gets leaked, but Park can't really afford to like if that's Wescoe's only play, and he just says he doesn't leak it there, he's sort of compelled to just do it as fast as he possibly can. So.
Let's go with a commanding board here. What I like, the Stony Silence actually is fine. It takes it like Larry Park's biggest out, red-white sword. It really takes that away.
Yep.
What Larry's hoping is if he can flip both his Delvers, maybe with some snags, can steal a race here, but that window is closing very quickly.
He has Revoke Existence too, assuming he has a singleton Revoke Existence.
Is that in his hand?
No, it's in his deck, but that's why I kind of like playing the sword this turn, because it means that if Revoke Existence on the top, then he has a huge swing.
Right. This time we're okay trading away Champ. Flyers, still really hard to deal with.
Yeah, he's going to double up.
So I think decides he's okay with that. Okay.
Yeah, he's just going to keep floating. I think he's going to Midnight Haunting and flashback Lingering Souls and take a real command of this game.
Just doing it all main phase. Certainly the Souls. There's a good argument to be made for the Haunting main phase too.
Yeah, I think you're not really bluffing anything at this point.
Yeah, let's go for it. Midnight Haunting. This is my game plan. Do something about it.
Wescoe comes prepared with a sea of tokens.
Well, Delver flips off Thought Scour. But with Wescoe,
1/3/2 against a million 2/2s.
12 power in the air. All right, well, let's see if we can find anything. I'm not sure what we're looking for, but not that.
Can't hurt to look.
Really, so going back to the beginning of the game, that window where Wescoe got one spell, sure to resolve. I think one of the things we determine, that one Anthem, just great. Like
Yep. So, that's game right there. That's a go.
Go for the throat, swinging 8. That happened. Larry Park. All right, we're going to the third game.
So Craig Wescoe ties it up, and that was you got to see his deck kind of do its thing right there, and he was actually stalled on lands for a large part of that game too.
Right. What's particularly interesting, I think what you mentioned before was the way that even in a deck, so sometimes one of the criticisms of decks like humans or black-white tokens is the fact that people say, you don't have very many plays. All your spells are sorceries. All your creatures are just vanilla creatures, and all they want to do is attack. Right. So you say, well, how do I play well with that sort of deck? I like really how Wescoe kind of shows that there, where still even just through sequencing some very ordinary spells, you can really shape a game.
He's thinking before he plays a land. Like he draws a land when he's been stalled at 2, draws a land. He doesn't just like put it into play. He's trying to think of a way of getting his opponent to like use a mana leak or use a vapor snag in a spot where they otherwise wouldn't if he knew that he had drawn the third land. The same thing happened when Wescoe drew his 4th land. He was able to sandbag it, induce a mana leak on a champion that didn't matter much, and land a Lingering Souls instead, which just blew the doors wide open. So, even as something as subtle as like a lot of people have an instinct where it's like I'm land screwed, stuck on lands. Finally draw my 3rd land, put it immediately into play, and Wescoe, like there's no hint of that in his game.
You can't tell that he's drawn the land until you see the land come into play.
Right. And it's that sort of discipline about things and sequencing that gives, it's like, how do players regularly perform well with the same decks? Like Wescoe with White Weenie being a great example. and it can't just be like, well, they're just getting lucky, or they're like
there's
everyone else. Yeah, it's like everyone's alpha striking at the same time. Like, where's the subtleties where he's picking up percentage points? And that game right there was just a great display of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so these two playing, we have Larry Park, Blue White Delver. For those of you just joining us, in the semifinals of Star City Open, going to Game 3, Craig Wescoe and Larry Park. In our other semifinal, we have Thomas Ma playing Blue White Splash Black Delver versus Brandon Kreptic, just playing the original Blue White. Craig, our last man standing in a sea of Delver that's pretty much overtaken Salt Lake City this weekend.
Yep.
We had 5 in our top 8. I believe there was either 4 or 5 in the Grand Prix top 8.
It has made a good showing.
It has been, yep, and
the,
good to note for your own Friday Night Magic. Be aware.
On the heels of, the Lingering Souls and Tangible Virtue block discussion we had recently, what more would you need to see to feel like some action need to be taken in Standard? And if so, what do you think is the appropriate action?
Well, let's see what, I mean...
We have a new set coming down the pipeline.
We have a new set coming out, so...
Right.
As far as I think it's close enough. The biggest thing is that we're entering a PTQ season in Standard this next weekend. So you don't want, last time we had Standard attendance really went down because there was a lot of Caw-Blade. No one really wanted to play in the Caw-Blade metagame. There's a danger with Standard to that. With so many tournaments, it's like for example the Star City Opens and Standard being so popular and the internet really just being so prevalent. Even metagames that are fairly complex do get boiled down. And it's really sometimes, even well-designed metagames become solved. So,
well, do you think this is... I guess that sort of opens up a larger question, which is like, is this just an inevitability with the amount of Magic that gets played both live and online? Or do you think this is just like an actual function with there being an issue with a card or two?
Well, say for example, these are the exact same cards that were legal during Pro Tour Dark Ascension. And we didn't see, the finals had 2 ramp decks in it.
Right.
All right. So in our other semifinal, Brandon Kreptic defeats Tom Ma 2-0. So we will have a Blue-White Delver deck in the finals. Brandon Kreptic playing the winner of this match between Craig Wescoe and Larry Park. But going back to that, there are other decks that seem to be performing well. Is it an inevitability? I think, let's say for example Modern. Modern, I think by the end of the PTQ season is certainly not solved right now. Right. But we've been playing it for a while. If Modern, say there was a Star City Open every week in Modern, do you think we'd have a solved format?
I think it's significantly more likely. Part of it is just the incentive structure, right? Like, when it's just a PTQ format and the occasional Grand Prix, there isn't like an open series associated with it. There's just not a lot of incentive for the best deck builders to be grinding out 1 million games playing Modern. It's just, right. They're just not there. And so it gives an illusion of diversity where it might not actually exist if people were actually working their hardest trying to break down the format. Yeah. Like you saw that, you see it in Legacy too, where it's like, well,
Legacy renowned as a very open format, right?
And just over time, because of the open series and just like more Grand Prix being played, it's like certainly the format is still open to an extent, but the idea that like Legacy has 25 decks and they're all equally viable, it's like that illusion's been shattered.
Yeah, that's just
not
anymore.
The case.
There are, 5 to 10 decks that are good, and there certainly are 50 other decks that you can play and do well with, and I think that's one of the great parts.
There's a charm to it, certainly, but like the idea that the guy playing Dragon Stompy has the same odds going into the tournament as the guy playing Rug Delver is like, just get out of here. That's just not the case.
Right.
And we have results to back that up now. So both players on 6 cards, and they're both going to stay with their 6.
All right. Ponder off of Larry Park. Craig Wescoe does have that Day of Judgment in his hand.
I actually think that's Timely Reinforcements. Maybe you're right.
It's one of
the
them.
art's too similar to tell.
It's Day. Yeah. Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Timely seems peculiar. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. The one thing...
Timely on the draw seems...
It's fine. Yeah.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. I assumed he was a token deck. I assumed he had Timely in the sideboard. No, you're right. It's just Day of Judgment.
The biggest thing is, you have to assume when you play a deck like Blue-White Delver that your opponent, Craig Wescoe, he's tested the matchup.
Right.
No one shows up to a tournament without knowing what their Delver matchup is. So both players not with much action early on. He's going to Thought Scour himself, maybe looking for a land? I'm not sure. And he is.
Ooh.
Big opening for Craig Wescoe. And Wescoe only had 2 lands in his hand, draws the third. Larry's going to really need to get back into this quickly. Doomed Traveler. Then a land. Then a Doomed Traveler. Not exactly, the most fierce pair of 1-drops.
Yeah, that's the risk. Like, Wescoe's hand's super reactive. It's Day of Judgment, Go for the Throat, Oblivion Ring. So he's actually potentially giving Larry a lot of time to draw out of this spot.
Right.
Wescoe needs some other...
Honor of the... He has Nile Spellbomb.
Yeah.
He may crack it. I think Wescoe wants to take this opportunity to find an Honor of the Peer or to find a Lingering Souls or something that can just bury Larry.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to rhyme. That can bury him while he still only has 1 land.
Right. So this is a risk of setting into too many reactive cards. It's like... If Wescoe just had a curve of good threats, this game would just be over instantaneously. But instead...
Right. There's some value...
He's sitting on...
Yeah, you can crack the Spellbomb now. Maybe you would hit, a 1-drop. But instead, he's going to wait another turn to, empty more cards out of the graveyard to gain more value. Right here, he's going to get a Vapor Snag.
There's the second land.
All right. Larry's in the game. Question is, I know he has a bunch of mana leaks. Not really what you are looking for right now.
Saying go here is just too suspicious. Like,
I mean,
Wescoe's going to cycle a Spellbomb. If he has a 4th land, he's going to play Doom Travel with 3 of them and just say go.
Well, the thing is, Larry, to a certain degree, can afford to say go for a while. I mean...
Yeah,
It's not like Doom's Traveler is going to win the game by itself.
Keeps trudging along.
There, 1, okay, and Lingering Souls.
I assume this is going to... There's a leak sitting in there.
Probably has to get mana leaked.
He might be arguing between that and the gate, which there's a singleton in his sideboard.
Right. Opts for the mana leak. Craig with great number of threats, Lingering Souls on the flashback. And that was really what the kind of spell he needed to get. Something that's going to be very strong, like get more of a reasonable clock than just Doom Traveler.
Another Oblivion Ring. The thing is, if Larry actually just has a land and a Geist, like, Wescoe's hand is not very well situated to handle that card.
Right. He can flashback Souls here. Hope to off... he's actually not going to flashback Lingering Souls yet.
We're not going to start there, yeah.
No, we're just going to go for Doom Traveler. Maybe we are going to go for Lingering Souls.
And that's going to hit a negated.
Interesting. He chooses to do that rather than just playing nothing. If Larry taps out for, say, a Geist, he's drawn a Delver. Larry also has a Gut Shot here. Craig's not giving him a single card worthy of Gut Shot. To be fair, there aren't very many cards worthy of Gut Shot in Craig's deck.
Yep. Do you want to trade with 1/4 of a Lingering Souls? No, didn't think so.
So Craig, maybe just O-Rings here.
I think he's probably going to Doom Blade because you want to save Ring for a piece of equipment.
Right.
You might just...
Because you have 2 O-Rings, having the versatility of instant versus... Yeah, well, first he'll offer the trade, not going to be accepted, but... Oh, here comes the clock. 2 more, down to 14.
Yep.
Yep, and he goes with the O-Ring.
Sure, yep. Makes sense.
Larry might have the option of snagging his own Delver. He's waiting long enough. Okay, he doesn't wait at all. The O-Ring,
there's a
just not moving it.
Does he have Geist the Saint Draft?
He kept his hand based on something, so...
Well, he was already on a mulligan, so it could have just been like
But he kept a 1-lander, which makes me think, it's probably based on something. Would you keep 1 land...
Yeah, 1 land Ponder.
1 land Ponder, Gut Shot Mana Leak, Gut Shot Mana Leak. I don't know. I don't really... Because the Mana Leaks won't be alive.
I don't know. I'm from the Gerard Fabiano school of I'd rather lose than mulligan. So I might not be the best person to weigh in on this one.
I think when you're playing Delver, you have to be careful of doing
Lands and spells? I'm in.
But it didn't have them both. It wasn't that.
Yeah, land and
spells. Larry, yeah. So you get into this situation where Doomed Travelers beat you up.
Well, I think, are we going to be looking at Snapcaster for Thought Scour this turn?
Just start cantripping him?
Snapcaster? Passing again with 3 mana, it's...
He has to have something. And Craig really still with not much pressure. If he does go Snapcaster for Thought Scour, we'll see the Spellbomb.
Yeah, we're going to see a Spellbomb out of that.
Yeah, large crowd gathered over there, including Brandon Cryptic, who is...
waiting on the winner of this one. And the
no play there.
The beatdown squad just keeps trucking along.
Drawing 2 Doomed Travelers. Soon to now have taken half of Larry's life total.
Yeah.
One of them even got Vapor Snagged, but he came back. Another land for Wescoe. Still no threats from either side. I mean, well, I suppose Wescoe does have threats, just, you know, very small ones. And I do like that he can Day of Judgment through his own Doomed Travelers. Another go by Larry Park.
Yep. This is just...
Another land for Craig Wescoe, but it seems not to matter. Larry seems to be unable to draw business.
If I showed you a tape and said these are 2 of the most powerful decks in Standard, you would not believe it. So we have a Gut Shot on a Doomed Traveler.
Oh, that's got to be one of the worst feelings. Oh, we're going to Snapcaster Gut Shot the other
I assume this
Traveler.
is going to induce Spellbomb. Larry can go over the top with a...
He's going to target negate? What is he targeting? He's a Vapor Snag? Yeah, Spellbomb will be correct. So what targeting nothing.
I mean, does this mean he's going to Snapcaster and Gut Shot a guy again?
Oh. Oh.
This is like...
It's painful. We're gut-shotting away Doomed Travelers. I mean, you have to stop the beats somehow.
Yeah.
But I would have to say Gut Shot, Snapcaster, Gut Shot, not really the way I intended to deal with a Doomed Traveler. You know, you just need your Sanctuary Cat to have taken care of the situation.
It's going to be enough for... It's going to be enough. Now that he's drawn Intangible Virtue...
There's no tokens!
Is there enough? Well, is this enough? Oh, no, if he's going to block.
He's going to block? Alright. Whew. Fortunately, the block turns on the Intangible Virtue that Craig just drew.
Hooray! Now my 1/1's a 2/2.
But actually from Larry, the best thing is all it takes is 1 Vapor Snag.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Craig has no threats.
This is not an awesome display of power from either of these decks.
He's trying to say you already played a land for the turn. Craig thinking does not believe that to be the case. I don't believe Craig has played a land for the turn.
No, because he had no lands in his hand.
He's been drawing a land every turn.
Right.
Yes.
Both discussing it. I don't think so. Yeah. Determined.
Yeah, Wescoe had 1 land in his hand last turn and played it. So
the best part, though, Wescoe does have, the Day of Judgments and O-Rings will kind of extend this game out into a grind to the point where he's going to go ahead and revoke away. It looks like he's going to revoke that Intangible Virtue.
Yeah, he might as well.
Gets to the point where...
O-Ring.
The O-Ring. Oh, that's okay. It's on Delver. From what I thought it was on Snapcast, I was going to say that's excellent. Larry could still get back in this game. All he will take is for his Delver to flip, but well, no, Wescoe's going to go for its throat.
I think he's going to go that guy. He doesn't want to play right now because of mana leak, but I think he's going to.
Yeah, probably will do it at some point here. Remember though, 1 Vapor Snag, another Oblivion Ring. So I think he actually Oblivion Rings it. Once again, just to...
Just have the versatility.
Yeah. One of the sillier games. Larry Park down to 4. These 2 Doomed Travelers. Just so good.
You have to believe
me.
Good. You had to believe me. These 2 decks are really good. You're just going to have to take my word for it.
We promise they play good cards. We have the aggro player sitting with a handful of sweepers.
Wrath of Gods and removal spells.
Larry Parker drawing a Dissipate, but he just needs an answer for that for the Delver of Secrets. But
is that 2/2 Spirit just going to go all the way?
We might see a 3rd O-Ring on a 3rd O-Ring cast. Champion of the Parish.
Oh, a 1/1 for 1.
All right.
Awesome. Sign me up.
It's actually a really relevant threat here.
Yep.
And it gets around mana leak.
Yeah, he still gets to O-Ring. Now I guess Wescoe's just thinking about, does he want to keep the O-Ring back for Sword, but because he's able to go in response to an equipment, he's not worried about it because Larry Park's on a 1-turn clock here.
Right, O-Ring on Delver. Larry lets that resolve. What's his plan for the token?
Yeah, does he have Dissipate in hand?
He does. So he must have a plan. I hope he has a plan. Okay, he can Snapcast back the Revoke Existence, I suppose. He's going to Oblivion Ring the token. Whew. Whew. So Doom Traveler, the first Doom Traveler, for those who are just joining us, was hit with a gut shot, then another gut shot for the token. The second Doom Traveler, the first half traded with a Snapcaster Mage, and the second half ate an O-Ring.
Ooh, that's Honor of the Pure. That plus the Go for the Throat is actually lethal.
And with the Dissipate out of Larry Park, and he has the Mana Leak mana, he's going to go for it. And the swing.
Boom.
Snapcaster Mage.
Just trades. And now we're at...
Stalemate.
Alright, we're all out.
Alright.
Ambush Viper.
You still have to give the edge here to Wescoe.
Yeah, I mean, 15-2.
Well, one Lingering Souls is game.
Yeah, he has a number of cards that are just game.
Yeah.
That's an
Honor of the Pure. All right.
And he still has Day of Judgment back.
At that point, I don't even know if you cast Honor of the Pure at this point. Isn't any single thing you draw already lethal?
Well, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's something like, well, now your champion of the parish is a 3/3.
Another Honor of the Pure. These tokens, as soon as he draws a creature, they're going to be huge.
So, if I was Larry Park, I'd just like waiting for death here.
Well, Larry Park has a Dissipate, remember? Is that intangible virtue? All right.
Honor's full.
All right. Crowd.
It's funny is like Wescoe still has Day of Judgment backup, so there's like it's really hard for this game to get out of line for him.
Wescoe says go a slight tell. He pushes his lands over to the side, but catches himself.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much telling is really happening here because
Geist of Saint Draft. All right.
Got a clock.
So Craig with the Day of Judgment here will probably go
that
for it.
Is I believe that is Lingering Souls, which
what
makes
Craig does is first he tries for the Day of Judgment and see if it resolves. If it does, and I think Larry will have to just let the Day of Judgment resolve. If he dissipates,
oh boy, Wescoe with the inducement.
It's exiled, but yes.
Here comes a million of millions.
No!
Some of that.
Those are that is a 12 power in the air for 3 mana. Actually, if you flashback, it's 24 power.
So maybe wanted to hang on to that Dissipate. Now
Vapor Snag. Oh, come Snapcaster.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's. I mean, because
I almost like snagging the Geist of Saint Draft there. I know that puts you at 1, but I think I do like snagging Geist of Saint Draft there.
All right. Those are
he finds another Ponder. I think he keeps the Ponder.
Right here, mana's not an issue here, so it's just another. It's another
digs one more. And no.
It's Delver, so we gotta shuffle up.
Shuffle one more card. Well, just a really fine display of magic here.
Yeah.
And remember though that even if Larry finds the answer, Lingering Souls has flashback.
Right. Yeah, oh yeah.
This is really.
I'm not sure.
We're going deep to win this.
He has Ratchet Bomb, right? That's an Invisible Stalker and a Mana Leak. I think we're finally, mercifully, going to be over. This game's going to be over. All right,
there we go. So Craig Wescoe
advance to the finals
against Brian Cryptic.